been a minute since I've done any sort of tags here on my channel. I love doing tag videos. I think they're so much fun. So for today's video, we are doing the Eyeshadow Palette Tag 5,000. So you guys want to see what the questions are, what my answers are, well then definitely keep on watching. Okay guys, so I just got done filming a chit chat get ready with me, so that's why you guys see this makeup right here. But by the time you guys see this video, that video will have already been live, but I'll still link all the products that I wore down below. But this morning I woke up and I saw that Angelica Neekfist, she's a dear friend of mine, posted a video where she did a Eyeshadow Palette Tag 5,000 video, and it's 10 questions about different eyeshadow palettes, and I loved the video. I thought it was so much fun. But I do want to let you guys know that this was actually created by Chic Geek Makeup. This was her tag that she created, so I'll make sure I link her channel and her video down below along with Angelica Neekfist. Go check them out, and I'll also link all the questions down below just in case you guys want to participate as well. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right on in because I'm so excited. I love doing tag videos. So the very first question is a palette that you wore on a special occasion. So I was trying to think of the special occasions that I've been to, and I thought about my wedding, but then I also realized I didn't wear eyeshadow on my wedding because I just wanted to do a classic red lip, so I did not wear any eyeshadow. But I did go to a brand event, my one and only brand event I ever went to, and it was the Glamlite Hershey Kisses launch party over in LA. I got flown out by Glamlite, still one of the coolest experiences I have ever had. And in that event, I was unsure about how to do my makeup, but Manny kind of directed me in like what type of look I should do. So I ended up wearing the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette right here, and I did one of the easiest eye looks that I still do to this day because I absolutely love it. All I did was I went in with the shade called Milk Tea right here, and I topped it off with the shade Laura, a little bit of Sam, and the shade called So Icy, and that's how I did my look. Very easy, very simple. It was so gorgeous, very natural, and it lasted all day. And of course, you guys can use code Allie when shopping at Lunar Beauty to save 10% off. But I absolutely love the eye look that I created when using this palette. When I went to the event, I loved my makeup look. I felt so sexy. I felt so gorgeous and beautiful. And I really felt like for a minute, I belong there, right? So I will always cherish this palette because of it. And whenever I want to do a really easy out the door eye look that's really soft, glam, but beautiful at the same time, this is still the palette that I go for, and it's still the same eye look that I recreate time and time and time again. So this would be the palette that I wore on a special occasion that will always just be near and dear to me. Question number 2, palette that you love but it's repetitive. So this kind of falls under 2 palettes. My beautiful friend Mikey sent this to me a long time ago. I absolutely do love these 2 palettes, but then I also realized how similar they are. So it is the Beauty Bay Earthly palettes right here. I have the big one and I have the small one. So the big one looks like this. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous palette, right? It is a green lover's dream. So this is going to be the big Earthly palette. And as you guys can see, there are very similar colors. Like you guys can see that these 2 shades right here, like these 2 shades are a little bit similar. These 2 shades are similar. These 2 shades are similar. And then these two shades right here are a little similar. This is a little similar to here. This is a little similar to here. Like there's definitely some recurring themes in this palette where the shadows are pretty similar. Granted, they're supposed to be like an earthy tone palette, and they're supposed to like be a great balance of each other, really supposed to help to allow so many different shades and variations for you guys to create using so many different shades and different looks you guys can create using this palette. Very gorgeous. But I also have the smaller version of it as well. And if you guys can't tell, well, these are pretty repetitive. Big version and the small version. And if you guys can't tell, they're repeating shades. They are literally repeating shades, and I didn't think it was necessary to have both, but I do, and I absolutely love and cherish these palettes more than anything. Mikey knows that. But you guys can definitely see that I do have repeating shades in both palettes. Like this was just a little mini dupe of this one, and so I do have repeating shades, and while I really do love them, I definitely feel like it is a little bit more on the repetitive side because you do see the repeating colors in both palettes. But I absolutely do love these palettes. I think they're really beautiful, and whenever I want like a nice green eyeshadow look, I do go for this palette. And sometimes I do go for the mini one, just kind of depending on what type of eyeshadow look I am looking for. But Beauty Bay has phenomenal quality. I really do enjoy this brand, and I really do love both these palettes, especially because I am such a green eye lover that, yeah, I just love them. Question number 3 is palettes that you got your money's worth. So the palette that I got my money's worth is actually the ColourPop. This is the Little Ray of Sunshine. I absolutely love this palette. I love this palette so wholeheartedly. I rank this in my top 10 favorite fall palettes. You guys can see that I did hit pan on this little shade right here. And if I hit pan on an eyeshadow palette, that just speaks volumes of the palette because I have a lot of palettes. I mean, back in December when I did my first palette declutter, I had over 500 palettes and I brought it down to 400. So I'm currently still sitting at 400 palettes, if not more, because it's been 6 or 7 months since I did my last declutter. And I still love this palette. I still pick it up. This is like my go-to fall palette. Every time I see this, I get so excited. I get so inspired, and I just think of sunflowers. I think of fall, and I just want to create fun fall looks. I just want to put my fall decoration. I just want to get in the fall season. That is what this palette inspires out of me, and I literally go back to it time and time again. And unfortunately, I don't think they make this palette anymore. I do think this palette is discontinued, but my God, was it one of the best palettes that ColourPop have ever came out with. It is all mattes, and normally I'm not a big matte person, but there's something about this that I just thought this was it. This was amazing. I loved it. So this would be my palette that I definitely got my money's worth out of because it's amazing. It's amazing. I know Angelica in her videos, she did swatches of all the palettes, but that's a lot of swatching. That's a lot of swatching. So then question number 4 is palette that is an amazing deal. So a palette that I think is an amazing deal is one that I still rave about. I still talk about because it's such a great quality for such a low price, and I just love the packaging. I love the color formula. I love the formula. I love the color scheme. It's just overall great. So the palette that I thought was an amazing deal was actually the Colored Rain. This is the Queen Bee palette. Now this retailed for $16. This actually launched last year. First, look at the cute little shift of the butt of the bee, right? Super cute. And then you open on the inside, you do get 6 gorgeous shades in here that are literally perfect for fall. This is my #1 favorite fall palette that I ranked last year. I absolutely love the fact that there's 2 shimmers and then 4 mattes, and I can create an everyday fall look using this palette. I mean, like literally, I could not get enough of it. The shimmers in here almost are like duochromes. They do kind of shift, and they do kind of shift just a little bit, but they complement every single shade in here beautifully. You can just wear, you know, these 3 together. You can wear these together. You can wear this together. You can wear this together. You can wear this together. You can wear this, this, this. Like there's so much you can do with this palette. It is so versatile, and it is just a phenomenal quality. I love this palette so much. It is still one of my absolute favorite palettes, and when I do my fall ranking, this is still going to be in there because I still really do love this palette. I think it's such an amazing deal. If it's still around, I highly recommend picking it up because like I said, it does retail for $16. You get 6 gorgeous shades in here that are perfect for the fall season. Plus it's bees, and I love bees, and I just thought this was the little cutest palette. Best purchase ever. I love it. Question number 5, quad you love and wish was a larger palette. So the quad that I really loved that I wish was a larger palette was another ColourPop palette, and it is the Semi-Precious Gemini palette. So when they did their horoscope palettes, I want to say 2 years ago, they came out with 12 little mini quads for each of the horoscope, and I hated my Scorpio one. I was not a fan. Scorpio, they did wrong. They should have done Halloween colors, but I digress. But I really did love this palette right here. Now, unfortunately, somehow this palette is a little broken. I don't know how that happened. I did have to kind of squish it together because this shimmer right here wanted to fall out. But here we have this little Gemini palette right here. You do get 2 shimmers and 2 mattes. And if you guys can't tell, I do kind of have like a recurring theme here where I do love those mustard yellows, golds, whites, and those browns, because again, this just reminds me of a beautiful fall palette. This seems like this could have paired very well with a little ray of sunshine. I feel like they could complement each other very well. This is something that I could find myself wearing every single day. Just put on these 2 shades, put on those 2, and that's boom, a beautiful, easy yellow eye look every single day. I could even go more the neutral route if I wish to do so. I just get so inspired when I see this. I immediately think of fall. I want to play with this palette. I want to do fall looks. I love it. I feel like it just will complement this palette beautifully, the Little Ray of Sunshine palette from ColourPop beautifully. It is just an overall gorgeous palette. I really wish they would expand it on this, maybe added an orange, a deeper brown, a little bit more shimmers, and this would have been absolutely perfect. So this is the quad that I wish would have been a bigger palette. Question number 6. You love the quality of the eyeshadow, but you hate the packaging. So any palette that I do hate, I've decluttered and gotten rid of. So there's really not that many palettes in here that I hate the packaging. But there is kind of one that stands out just a little bit because my taste has evolved over the years. But back in 2020, Robert Christie released a collection with Pure Cosmetics. And, you know, I really do like the concept of it. I like that she put all the things that mean the most to her on the packaging. But when you open on the inside, I guess I just don't find this as aesthetically pleasing anymore as I once did back in 2020. Like I said, my taste has evolved. But you have the palette right here. So on one side you have like the beautiful colors, right? Beautiful colors. And then on the other, you have the neutrals. Now for me, this is an easy traveling eyeshadow palette, but I don't know, I just find this to be a little bit annoying. I find this to be a little bit annoying having to go back and forth between the two. Like I wish I could have just laid them out together, because then I'm like, what if I want to do something on this side? Oh, but wait, there's a color on here that I want to use. Oh, but wait, there's a color on here that I want to use. I have to go like back and forth between the two. And I really don't like that. I really don't like that. I want to be able to lay them side by side so I can gently look at the colors and say, you know what? I'm really inspired by this yellow and the shade right here, but I also want to go into this orange and deeper yellow to kind of mix the two together, because I get inspired when I look at colors when they sit side by side. I really start to think, oh, what would go good with what? What will look pretty with this? And I get really inspired that way. And it's harder for me to do that when they're literally on opposite sides of each other. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not a fan of this packaging anymore. And I feel like Robert Christie did a better job with her ColourPop collection in terms of packaging. It really did scream her. This just kind of screams more of like, I guess the favorites from her, like things that really mean a lot. But I don't know. It's just kind of a bunch of images kind of thrown together that I don't really find it that appealing anymore. I don't really find it that cute, but I still think the formula in here is great. I still think the color schemes she picked were great. I just think the whole layout and the concept is just something that I'm not really into anymore. I've definitely grown and evolved my taste, and this is just one of the things, those things that I do now tend to overlook just a little bit because I don't care for the packaging and the aesthetics of it, but I'll always keep it because it is Robert Christie's first collab. You guys know I'm a huge fan of hers, so I'll always hold on to it because of that. Question number 7, show your dream palette with singles. So, one, I don't really have that many eyeshadow singles. Like, I really don't. The eyeshadow singles that I have are all like loose pigments. Like, they're all loose pigments. So, I really can't show singles that way. But secondly, and this is just me being completely honest with you guys, and I actually agree with what Angelica says, I want to keep my dream palette to myself because you just never know who's going to come in, watch your content, and then take your idea and run with it and then create your dream palette without you being involved. Different brand, different formula. Like, just I don't want someone coming in and taking what I have envisioned for myself for the longest time. So that's something I'm actually going to keep for myself. And if there's ever a brand that wants to work with me, or if I ever create my own brand, that's something that I would love to come out with myself, would be my own dream palette. Now, do I have like little mini versions of it in my head? Yes, absolutely. I have like little mini versions that I would absolutely show you guys. But the overall big dream palette, I'm going to keep that to myself just because I want to be able to hopefully one day create that for you guys in with whatever way I can, whether it's a collab or one day my own. I want to keep that to myself. So I actually agree with Angelica where she said she was keeping that stuff to herself. I 100% agree because I would one day want to make that for you guys. So we're going to let that just be a surprise. But if I had any single shadows, I would show you guys like little mini versions of it, so I can give you guys a sneak peek of what I'd be, of what it would be. So yeah. Number 8, palettes you like to combine together. So palettes I like to combine together is actually 3 palettes. It's actually 3 palettes I like to combine together because, well, you guys know that I have a love for oranges, I have a love for yellow, and I have a love for green. If I can combine all 3 of these palettes, it'd be phenomenal. So the first one is the P. Louise. This is the Stack Them Up palette right here. This is a beautiful orange palette. This is the palette called Back Yourself. And again, I ranked this in my top fall palettes. It's going to be ranked in there again this year because I absolutely do love this palette. I think it definitely screams fall in my opinion. Was this meant to be a fall palette? No. But we're making it a fall palette because I love it. So I would love to mix this palette with the Glamlite Dirty Martini palette because you guys know that I absolutely do love greens, especially really good olive green. There's something about a really good olive green, baby diarrhea green is just beautiful. So I would love to like actually mix these together, kind of create something that I would pick up and use every single day, right? Like, tell me that is not really pretty. Tell me it's not beautiful. Tell me these shades would not complement each other perfectly, right? But not only that, I'd want to add one more to kind of balance it out for all my favorite colors when it comes to eye looks, and that is the ColourPop Honey palette right here. This is a beautiful yellow palette right here, and I just feel that if we were to take all 3 and mix them, I mean, come on, that is beautiful. Like, that to me is absolutely beautiful. It's so aesthetically pleasing. I just love looking at these 3 together, and if I could have this all like in one big palette, oh my god, I'd be the happiest camper ever. Like, this would be so freaking beautiful. I'd have my greens, I'd have my yellows, I'd have my oranges, and I would be the happiest person. So those are all 3 palettes that I would absolutely combine together if given the chance to create this beautiful like palette. Question number 9, large palettes that you wish were smaller. So a large palette that I wish was smaller was actually the Be Perfect Cosmetics. It's the Carnival 3 Love Tahiti palette. This is, woo, this is such a gorgeous palette, right? Such a gorgeous palette. Very, very colorful. I also think I ranked this in my fall. Clearly, y'all, my mindset is fall. I'm so excited. 2 weeks. But I love this palette, but I just feel like I don't really use purple sides that much. Like, I feel like if you could just cut this palette in half, right? Take away the purples and just leave like take away the purples and just leave the oranges, yellows, greens, and blues. I'd be a lot happier of a camper because again, I don't really use a lot of purples or pinks. I just find those colors, they're pretty and I can make them work for me. And I sometimes do like how I look in them, but a lot of times I just don't go to them. I just really don't go to them. I prefer other colors over them. Sometimes they can stain, and I just prefer oranges, yellows, greens, and blues over the purples and pinks. So while this is such a gorgeous palette, I love playing with this palette. I just feel like I would have loved it more if it could have been smaller, take away the purples, or they could have like launched it in like little segments, like little 9 pans, 10 pans, you know, like a little segment 9 or 12 shadow palettes. I feel like this would have been perfect. So this is a palette that I would 100% make smaller if given the chance. And then question number 10 is eyeshadow palette that you wish had a matching face palette. So there's not that many palettes out there that I wish had a matching face palette because I don't really use that many face palettes that often. The ones I use are like the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Juicy palette and the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette and like the Laura Lee and Nude Prism and the Laura Lee Los Angeles and like Lunar Beauty kind of mixed together. Other than that, I just use like kind of like single stuff, but I kept trying to think like what would be like ideal if I had to create a face palette based upon an eyeshadow palette, and I thought, well, this would probably make the most sense for me. But the palette that I would use to make a face palette would actually be the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette right here. Now the reason why I picked this palette is because this can give me something that I can use. It would give me a highlighter, it would give me a bronzer, it would give me a little bit of a blush, and it also gave me like a setting powder. So for me, I can see this and go, okay, I have my setting powder, I have my blush, I have my bronzer, and I have my highlighter. That would be absolutely perfect. And I know there's so many face palettes out there that actually do complement this palette very beautifully, but I don't really have, like I said, that many face palettes like that, but I just look at this and I get inspired. I'm like, I could absolutely do a full face with this palette because I can use this to make bronzers, blush, highlighters, and setting powders all into one while still using this as an eyeshadow palette because I still think it's a beautiful neutral eyeshadow palette. She's expensive for what she is, but I still think it's really beautiful. I really enjoyed playing with this, and I can definitely see myself making this into a face palette as well. So those are all 10 questions. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. I absolutely love doing makeup tags. I think they're so fun. Something a little different. And sorry I didn't do swatches the way that Angelica did. It's just that that's a lot of stuff to swatch. I picked some really big colorful palettes, and I have a tiny little arm and I can only fit so much. And it's a lot of B-roll. But if you guys want to see Angelica's video, I'll make sure I link her video down below along with the creator of the tag, which is Chic Geek Makeup, down below as well. Make sure you guys go check them out. And I want to thank Angelica for inspiring me for today's video. But this is something so fun. Let me know down below what your answers would be. I'm very curious to see what you guys have picked for these questions. And if you guys want to do this tag, I'll make sure I link the questions down below for you guys as well. But yeah, that is it for today's video, guys. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 4 to 5 videos every single week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channels, R for the Life. You guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to these beautiful, wonderful Patreon members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribe, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Bye. And in today's video, we're doing the eyeshadow palette tag 10 questions that shit. Palette question number 3, palette you got your money's worth. So those are all 10 questions. If you guys, those are all 10 questions. If you guys want to see the creator Chic, and if you guys want to do this, if you guys want to do these, if you guys want to do this tag, I'll make sure I link the questions down below. And if you guys want to do this tag, I'll make sure I link the questions down